So, of course, that was the Barmy Army singing after one ball of today's play. That's something they do every day, actually, is sing Jerusalem. They sing it very well, of course. I joined in, actually, and I think that's one thing that we do quite well, actually, in England, is sing. Better than we play in cricket at the moment, certainly. Welcome to the Analyst at the Ashes with me, Simon Hughes.
And I'm Simon Mann.
So, another bad day for England. I mean, it started beautifully, didn't it, with that song, and it maybe inspired Joe Root to his 41st Test match 100. A wonderful performance. Now level with Ricky Ponting. It went up on the board as well, and everyone cheered. And of course, the Barmy Army were in full song, and they do sing this great Joe Root song. I'll play a little bit of that as an underlay. But then it all went wrong with the ball. In fact, it all went wrong with the bat a little bit at the end, and it went horribly wrong with the ball. Would you agree?
Horribly wrong with the ball. What did you think of England's score of 384?
40 short. I was wanting 420. And if you look at that, they were 375 for 6 before Will Jacks was out, and then they only added another 9 runs.
Yeah.
So actually the second new ball was 347 for 6. So Jacks and Root negotiated the second new ball, reasonably well, and then they lost all those wickets just at the end. So a bit disappointing. I was looking for 400 plus, so I thought they were 30 or 40 short.
Yeah, I thought England's innings, really, to get a really substantial score, to a really punishing score, someone needed to significantly support Joe Root. And I don't mean just, an 80 or a 40. I mean something really substantial. Someone else had to score 100. So you have a really big partnership, a substantial partnership that gives you the benefit of winning the toss and actually laying the foundation like they did yesterday. So I suppose you would go back to Harry Brook's dismissal early on. It's funny, isn't it, when you come to the ground this morning, they were both in sight of their century. One was 72, one was 78. Who would you said was far more likely to go on and score 100? You'd have said Joe Root, wouldn't you? But you probably thought both of them. It might well have gone on after how they played yesterday, because Brook had played within himself. He played skillfully and attacked to the right times, generally speaking. He had a bit of luck, of course, but I think it's a bowling attack with him and a few others. You just know you're always in the game, and so it proved. I thought it was a nothing dismissal, really, nicking a wideish ball from Boland's a slip. Good catch by Smith. Nothing dismissal.
Yeah,
it was
nothing. Yeah, I mean, it was the shot that he played quite a bit on the first day, sort of steering it. So in a way, it's a funny one. It was a bit of a nothing shot. I would have brought him a single probably, because the field were quite spread, and if he'd got a more of a bat on it, it would have gone wide at first and gone down to third man for a single. Of course, what Brook will be saying going back to the pavilion is, I should have given it everything. I should have given it the full go, and I would have sliced it for 4 or for 2 or something. So he was probably thinking, actually, that attempt to play a controlled shot was his downfall. This is the kind of dilemma that the batsmen so often have. You've only got that one chance, and if you make that, the wrong decision, obviously you pay with your wicket. So it's a difficult one. I mean, it does look a loose shot. It does look a poor shot, but he was trying to play in a more conventional manner.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it quite closely on replay, and I think Boland just got the ball. It was quite a shortish ball, but he just got it to go away a fraction, so it hit the pitch and just left him. So as he was lining it up, I think he was. It was initially in his comfortable hitting arc, and because it just moved a fraction, he ended up slicing it to slip. I mean, he got quite a big chunk on it, didn't he? It was a really good catch by Smith, but then you just expect Australia to catch them. You expect Steve Smith to catch them.
And what was quite interesting was Joe Root did the press conference afterwards. We'll hear a little bit of him later, but he did say the pitch did a lot more today.
Yeah.
Yesterday was a good day to bat. Today you could see the pitch do more, especially with the second new ball. It moved around, it bounced a bit unevenly. The odd one stayed low, the odd one bounced. At the end of the day, actually Stokes hit Michael Neser, didn't he, on the elbow?
That was the last ball of the day.
And the play was called off after that. As he played forward, it bounced up, reared up, and hit him on the back elbow. So there is a bit there now, and Root admitted that, which makes his innings even more impressive. And of course, summing up the day, Joe Root scored, well, not exactly half the runs, but not far off. And then he went off the field later in the day with a back spasm or some kind of back injury. Well, the trouble is, he's carrying all the other England players on his back, isn't he? I mean, he's the only one who's made 100, and he's the only one who's played in that sort of slightly more conventional way. And the Aussies haven't been able to get him out in this Test match until right at the end. I feel sorry for him because he's put so much into it, and he's been let down by some of his colleagues.
Yeah, and what you wonder is whether some of his colleagues look at him and think, actually, it kind of works for him. I wonder whether it could work for me, that if I play at that thing I was talking about last night, play at 75, 80 rather than going bullet a gate, 95, 100, really going for it, then that might benefit a few other players as well. I know they kind of hate this word ruthless, don't they, the England camp, but it is about being hard-nosed and just being harder to get out there. I think that we've seen it all series. There are too many players that just look too easy to get out, and Root's not one of them. And Root said, right, you have to bowl a really good ball to get me out, or I'm going to have to make a big mistake. But he didn't make many, did he, in this innings?
No.
If any significant mistakes, until he just got a bit strange. It was a really strange dismissal, actually. I think he was trying to shovel the ball into the leg side to try and manipulate the strike, and he just ballooned in the air, and Nisa took the catch.
Good catch, good call and bowl. So, talking of his other colleagues, I mean, what was really frustrating today was to see the batting of Jamie Smith, who is so talented, and yet his decision making is terrible, and it's not the first time it's been like that. And you just will him to sort of learn from the mistakes he's made before, and yet he is only young, he's inexperienced, but he made another big mistake today. In fact, he was lucky to get to 46 because he was out of a no ball. He was lucky a couple of other times. Slices went over the slips and things like that. And then, of course, just before, on the stroke of lunch, when England are doing pretty well, and he's on 46, and he goes Labuschagne's bowling. I mean, who's a bit better than a joke bowler, but he's not, frontline bowler. He's bowling a lot of short balls. They put everybody back, and Jamie Smith goes for a big slap, tries to slap him over cover, caught extra cover. I mean, absolutely stupid. And he'd been given a life already, so you want to think, well, I'll make them pay for that. Instead, he just handed his wicket to Australia's on a plate.
Yeah, it felt like that, didn't it? It felt like a handing over of a wicket. Again, it exemplifies the point I was making, that some players just look too easy to get out. I thought what it reminded me of, it's a bit like, when you lay a trap for someone, when you put some twigs over the ground, there's a big hole in the ground, and beneath it there might be some tigers or some snakes or whatever like that, and you say, come trust me, come towards me, yeah, a bit further, and as that person who's walking towards you, they look down as well. They look down and they can see the snakes and the tiger in the trap, and they can see the twigs over it, and they think, yeah, that's a bit flimsy. I'll tell you what, I'll just test it out. No, I won't test it out. I'll just jump into it. And that was what it was like. It was
jumping into the snake pit.
It was such an obvious trap. I mean, you could just. I mean, everybody could see it. So I don't know how that happens. I don't know how you can't see that as an international cricketer. Joe Root sort of talked afterwards saying, well, we want to take the positive option. The new ball was just around the corner. I thought, because the new ball was around the corner, you don't play like that, because you want to protect your lower order.
Yeah, I completely agree. So this is our bet for exchange today. Why can't you A, learn from your mistakes, and B, just play a slightly more percentage game? I mean, yesterday we said that about Jacob Bethel and his reaction to Nasser Hussain posing the question about Greg Chappell, saying that black players lack respect and they don't have the discipline to play a long innings. I think one of Jamie Smith's problems, actually, I don't think he trusts his defence. And if you look at his defence, it's a little bit fragile. He's been bowled through the gate a couple of times because he doesn't use his front leg. He's quite a tall guy, and he doesn't get his front leg bent when he plays forward. And it's hard to show this on this video, but he doesn't lean into his defensive shot properly, and he leaves a small gap. His weight isn't fully forward, and therefore, because he's got being bowled out a few times with the ball nibbling through the gate, I think he thinks I've got to take the aggressive option all the time. So it is frustrating, and let's hear from Joe Root, because he was asked in the press conference afterwards what he thought of that dismissal, and can he understand that people find it quite annoying to see that kind of player, as good as he is, depart like that.
I can understand why whenever someone someone loses a wicket, you'd be frustrated. But there's no one more frustrated than the guy that's lost his wicket. The guy's working incredibly hard, and you're trying to find the best way possible to get to where you want to get to. I understand that people will see the game differently, and there are times absolutely that you have to be able to absorb pressure and understand at different moments when to put it back on. But I think that was an opportunity, and I back him 100% to take that next time around as well. I think the most important thing was the partnership that we built off the back of that. I thought Wade Jackson came out, took responsibility, played in that manner. We got another 50 partnership. Could have very easily gone and could have gone and fallen in a heat there, but we didn't. We held firm. They bowled extremely well. I think they were very accurate. They asked very good questions of us, and I thought we managed that period exceptionally well. So I guess the challenge for us now is, instead of looking at that, I guess, is can we be that tomorrow? Can we be that accurate? Can we ask those same questions of them and their top order, and try and make early inroads and capitalise on them?
It does seem odd, actually, doesn't it? Kind of like focusing on that dismissal, that one incident in a day of so much action. Root gets 160, Travis Head makes 91, Ben Stokes involved in an altercation with Labuschagne. Ben Stokes being at the forefront of England's attack again with 2 wickets. But I suppose what it is, it kind of sums up what we've seen in this series. Lots of really soft dismissals, and this goes, to me, this goes straight to the top of the list. And it comes back to that point, is I just, what's going on in your mind that it can't make a sort of purer decision, like a more obviously correct decision. It looked the wrong option. I mean, Labuschagne was just, he was bowling for that, and he delivered it. I mean, when you go back and play it over, you think, no, he's not going to do that. He's not going to play that shot. But of course he did, and I think that's what everybody watching, listening, whatever, on television, here at the ground today, we're just going, what did I just see? Extraordinary.
So to finish on that topic, Jack Russell, the former England wicketkeeper, posted an interesting tweet today on social media, saying basically Jamie Smith is learning everything at the top level, including keeping wicket, because he doesn't even keep the Surrey, so he's learning everything under the intense spotlight of Test cricket. But he also said, I believe he'll be statistically the best wicketkeeper batsman England have ever had in the future.
Not if he keeps playing shots like that, he won't.
I mean, it's quite a big call from Jack, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because there's a few other candidates there who averaged in the low 40s or late 30s, Alex Stewart being one. I go back actually, I mean, perhaps pointlessly, to Les Ames, who played cricket for England in the 1930s and 40s and averaged 44 with the bat and kept wicket very well. But, you can't really compare eras. But, I mean, that's a big call from Jack. I hope he's right, anyway.
Also Alec as well. I mean, we think about Alec's stats. I mean, they're mixed in with just being playing purely as a batter as well. So you have to kind of strip those back, don't you? And obviously his average was lower as a keeper because it's a bigger role to take on. Look, I think it's one of those things, because you see a player with so much talent, and I think it's the same with Harry Brook as well. I mean, we've made this point probably ad nauseum throughout the series. You feel that they should be able, over time, to work it out and to make the most of their talent. And you hope Harry Brook will, and you hope that Jamie Smith will, because he'll delight so many spectators. When you go to watch the game, your eyes are on Jamie Smith, because you don't quite know what he's going to come up with next, because he is such a wonderful striker of the ball. But of course, with that, you need a good defence, and you need good decision making, don't you, to be that all-round package at Test level.
Look, I mean, Jamie Smith is one of those players you love and hate, like we were talking yesterday. When he drives the ball for 4, there's roars of appreciation in the Barmy Army, and when he gets out like he did today, there's agony and anxiety and just groans of disappointment. So England 384 all out in the end. Could have been more, but it wasn't. Facts are facts. Could they then make early inroads with the ball? Well, the answer was no. And they didn't bowl well. I was disappointed today. Matt Potts, who I had high hopes was going to have some kind of impact on this series, just couldn't get it right at all. Taken off after 3 overs for 25. Brighton Cast a bit better, but not absolutely spot on. There was just no real discipline from England, and Australia got away. I mean, they did get that wicket of Weatherald after a drop catch, another drop catch by Ben Duckett, which again elicited groans of agony from the England supporters and howls of delight from the Australian fans, of course.
And it was a catch that should have been taken
Absolutely,
as well.
yeah.
You've got to be taking those at this level.
Luckily, it didn't cost England too much because Weatherald only made 21. But then Head just cut loose after that, and he was fed a lot of lovely half volleys and short balls, and he just absolutely, he was like a pig in the proverbial, wasn't he? I mean, just played beautifully, played classic Travis Head. It was quite interesting listening to Joe Root talking about Travis Head actually afterwards, and saying why. Somebody asked him why is he so hard to bowl at, and he said one of the reasons is that he attacks a ball hitting the top of the off stump. He gets onto the back foot and he hits a ball which isn't all that short, either through the offside or flicks it, sort of half pulls it through the leg side, because he's got such a incredible eye. A few drag-ons, the ball went sort of just past the off stump, a few slices over the slips, he had a little bit of luck. But he's so good at attacking that almost optimum delivery that bowlers try to bowl, hitting the top of off, so then they look to pitch it up and then he drives them. So he is a very difficult person to contain, but England's discipline with the ball was lacking, except, I mean, Josh Tongue came on and bowled pretty well, and obviously Stokes took 2 wickets. Stokes now has 15 wickets in the series at 20.
Yeah.
I mean, that's outstanding, but no one else, apart from a little bit Josh Tongue, has been able to sustain that consistent accuracy.
Yeah, I mean, two of them were good, 2 of them were poor, weren't they? And so England just couldn't get any control into their bowling effort. And Australia just bounding along, so many 4 balls. I think it's like 25 boundaries already. It was almost one every 7 balls at one stage, really deep into that innings as well. So Australia are clearly in a strong position in the game. Are they in a inevitable winning position now?
No, I mean, they're not. And Joe Root said in the press conference afterwards, and I totally believe him, if we can strike in the morning and get that discipline back, get the night watchman out, or he may have trouble with his arm because he went off, obviously clutching his arm, Michael Neser. Obviously that gets Steve Smith in. I mean, Australia got a long batting order, but there is something in that pitch now, definitely. It's moving a little bit, the bounce is a bit uneven, it'll probably quicken up a bit. If England can, and it's a big if, isn't it? If England can sustain some real pressure and consistency with their line and length, just bowl line and length, they'll get wickets. But it's a big if, can they do that? Yeah,
I mean, the Betfair odds, I say Australia are a bit better than 2-1 on, and England are 5-1. So that's the hole England are in at the moment. That's probably legacy from the series as well. So you say it's a big if, and I think that's the point really. Just watching England in this series, it doesn't feel like they can drag themselves back into the game from this point. But it's not impossible, because there are those dints in the pitch, and it's been a really curious pitch. I mean, batters have scored well on. We've seen runs and a big 100 from Root, and Travis Head looks like you might be able to do it again. But you feel at some point in the game, the bowlers are going to hold sway, and that's kind of what you want from a Test pitch, isn't it? Good for the batters at some point, good for the bowlers at others who can wrestle their way into that winning position. So, just to punt forward, you look at the game, you think Australia get a lead, big pressure on England in their 3rd innings. If Australia say get a lead of, say they score 450, 500, something like that, lead of 100, 70 or 80 on that surface with England under pressure, then are they going to be able to set Australia enough to make it difficult for them in the final innings of the match? I mean, it could be that we have big score, low score, something like that on this surface. Although often we're promised pitches falling apart, aren't we? And they don't seem to happen so much.
It's not looking great, but if England can do something tomorrow, then they're still in the game. 166 for 2, Australia are over now, off 34 overs, so a good run rate there. They're almost Bazballing England actually with a run rate of 4.7. So listen, let's finish. I suppose we should just mention a little altercation there with Stokes and Labuschagne at the end. Put his arm round him, didn't he?
Yeah, gave him a bit of a squeeze.
Got a squeeze on the back of the neck there. There's a little bit of byplay there. Stokes obviously
it was a little bit more than byplay, wasn't
yes.
it? I think there was a bit of needle niggle It's hard to work out what was said and what caused it as well.
So Head glanced one for 4 down the leg
Yeah.
side. Might have been legged by Labuschagne, obviously said something. And basically Stokes told him to shut up in no uncertain terms. And then it just continued a bit. I mean, it was silly. But he might have to have a little visit to Jeff Crow, the match referee, for putting his hand around Labuschagne.
You're not supposed to touch
anyone, no.
an opposition player,
I quite like to see a bit of feeling like that, but laws are laws and all that. So listen, let's finish tonight on a slight tangent. I first came to this ground in 1986, actually, and watched the series that England won, although they lost this last Test match. And I remember going into the old commentary box, which was underneath this stand, and chatting to Richie Benaud, who of course had been a great cricket presenter in England as well as Australia for so long. He started presenting cricket in England in 1964, having just basically retired, and he was an absolute fixture of the England highlights and live coverage for 40 years. And then of course he moved to Channel 4, and I worked with him at Channel 4 for 6 years, and he was a great mentor of mine. So I rather like the second day of the Sydney Test match, which always traditionally is known as Richie's Day, and the Richies turn up in all their kind of classic Richie Benaud garb, the white jacket, the greying hair, rather nicely styled.
Is it a beige jacket? I think it's a beige jacket.
Maybe a beige jacket, yeah, it's a beige jacket. And that styled hair, and of course the jacket and tie, and the big Channel 9 microphone as well. So I immersed myself in the Richies today.
Did you dress up as a Richie?
Well, if you watch the video of this podcast, you'll see that I actually did. I'm not sure if it was an improvement, but I did dress up as a Richie.
Well, I reckon. I think it probably was an improvement.
Anyway, and I interviewed their sort of head Richie, if you like, Michael, who's been doing this for 14 years or so. Sad to say, I think it's the last time they're going to do it, which is really sad. And they feel like that the generation has moved on, and Richie Benaud was, a man of yesteryear, which is a shame because his legacy still lives on in commentary and in reputation, and obviously in playing cricket. But anyway, here is my little chat with the head Richie, Michael, and we finish with a little blast from their trumpeters. See you tomorrow. In great homage to the fantastic Richie Benaud, I've adopted
it's a marvellous day.
It's a marvellous day. And here is Michael, who is one of the main patrons of the Richies. It's a tradition that you've been doing now for a long time, isn't it?
That's right. We started in the summer of 2009-10, the January test in 2010. It's been 17 SCG tests now we've been here.
17 NCG tests.
Yeah, and we've been around the country for a few as well.
Yeah, and you have it's the second day of the Sydney test.
Yeah, day 2 Richie Day. So you'll see on our lovely mic, we've got day 2 Richie Day. So day 2 is Richie Benaud Day.
Marvellous day.
Not only because on day 2 I think it's the best day of cricket, you get to see both teams bat and bowl generally. Richie being an all-rounder, I think that's important. But also day 2, it just worked out perfectly the way he used to enunciate his tunes.
222.
That's right.
222, the 2. But I hear it's the last year you're going to do it.
That's right, yeah, we're going out on a high with the Ashes. So, a big day today. It's been a long time coming, but yeah, we want to finish on a very high note, and we're really excited about the day so far. It's been fantastic.